Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in, coming back and watching. I appreciate it. This is another video about Luminar 4, and thank you, by the way, for checking out my series on Luminar 4, which you can find there. One of the things I've been experimenting with a lot is doing monochromes or black and whites, and you know, I'm a big color guy at heart. If you've seen any of my photos or videos, you know I like my color. Actually, scratch that. I love my color. But over time, over the last year or so, I've really gotten into black and whites, monochromes, you know, however you prefer to describe them. This one's technically a monochrome, but you know, you can do a great job with them in Luminar. And in Luminar 4, you have some extra capabilities that you didn't have before. So I'm going to walk through a workflow. Let me show you the photo. Here it is. This is Chateau Chambord in the Loire Valley of France. And gray day, you know, just kind of ho-hum. I initially turned it into a black and white, but then I was like, you know what? I mean, this is Luminar 4. I can replace skies. I can do lots of cool stuff. Let's do cool stuff. So I turned it into that. I was like, I'm going to put in not just a new sky, but I'm going to put in a night sky, make it a night shot, and just make it a little bit of a moody kind of look. So that's what I did. Let me reset these filters, and then we'll walk through it. Okay, first things first, I need to crop. So I'm just going to click on that crop icon. I'm going to go over here to 16:9, and I'm going to do something about like that. I want to try to catch all that reflection, and I'm going to pull this in a little bit from the side there, because that is this little line here is basically the center of that square, and I want that center kind of lined up with the center of that, which tells me that I'm kind of even from side to side, but I wanted to walk through that. So now I've got a crop, and now I need to jump into doing some adjustments and having fun with it. So first things first, I'm on the base layer. This is a raw file I shot with my Nikon camera years ago when I had Nikon. I'm going to go over here to the Creative tab and click on Sky Replacement. My sky selection, I'm going to load a custom sky image. And I'm going to go over to my sky files, which are buried over here. I did a video about Matt Seuss's sky replacement pack, which is super awesome. I'll put a link to it there and a link to the pack down below if you want to check it out. It's got some incredible skies, including this one. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that in, say open, and it's going to stick that night sky on my image. And you know, that looks cool already, although the bottom doesn't work with it. So we're going to fix that. And obviously, I'm going to change it to a black and white. So let's keep going. Okay, so first thing, I've got the sky in. I don't feel like I need to make any adjustments over here. So I'm going to go straight to the primary tab or essentials tab and go over here to light. And I'm fine with all that. I just want to bring up contrast quite a bit. So I'm going to go like to 65, 66, something like that. And all I'm trying to do is create a little bit of drama and a bit of contrast. So I think that looks good. And next thing I want to do is go to black and white conversion. And I'm just going to hit convert to black and white. And you will notice that converts the sky as well, because the sky, even though it's a separate image, the way it's built into Luminar, it sticks it on top and you essentially have a combined image. So adjustments that you make after adding the sky are going to impact the sky as well. Now, one of the things I like about the black and white filter are that you have these, is that you have these color controls here. And the yellows and greens, if you go back to the original photo, you can see there's a bit of yellow and green in that grass, and I'm going to pull down the brightness of that. So in luminance, you can just come over here to yellow, and if you'll just look at the grass, while I do this, I'm going to go -100 on yellow and -100 on green. All I did, as you see there, is just darken the grass. The reason I used both, if you look at the original, is even though you might call that green, you might call that yellow, even if it's pure green, it often has a lot of yellow in it. So when you change the luminance or saturation of yellows and greens, yellows, it'll impact the green normally. So something to keep in mind when you're ever doing edits to the colors of grass. Okay, and now I'm pretty okay with that. I'm going to pop over to the Pro tab and go to Advanced Contrast. And the truth is, on this filter, it's experimentation, as I talked about, you know, in many of my photos. I just come over here and I start dragging it until I get to somewhere I like. And what I settled on was about a 56 on highlights contrast and about a 41 on midtone contrast. And then for shadows, I came over here to about a 43, and I kind of like that, but I felt like the photo was off. And this is where you can play with these balance sliders. The first one I did was just the shadows balance, and so I started dragging it this way, and I really liked what it did. So I went to about 52 there, and I have a much more dramatic and I think beautiful looking black and white. It's got great contrast, which is part of what I wanted, was a high contrast image. And already we've come a long way from the base photo to the current photo, but now we got to go do something about that sky. Okay, so I did a video about adding new skies with reflections. I'll put the link to the video there. But let me just show you what I do. It's basically going to be the same thing here. You go to the layers panel, and I'm on my base layer. I want to add a new image layer. So I'm going to say plus, add new image layer. And I want to get that same sky. I'm going to say open, and it's going to stick that sky on there. But what I want to do is click transform, right? I want to go in there to transform, and then I'm going to say flip, because I want a reverse or an inverse of the photo, because I'm showing a reflection of it. So it's not going to be the same alignment. It's going to be the mirrored or reversed alignment. And then all I did is with transform, you can just kind of squish it, as I like to call. And down here, I just kind of lined it up like that. And you know, actually, I believe what I did is I dragged it a little bit further this way, something like that. So let me do that one more time. I'm going to drag that a little bit further because I kind of ran out of real estate there, and pull that down. I just want to line it up with the bottom there, something about like that. And I'm going to say done. And you're thinking, Jim, that looks like crap. And it does. We're going to fix that. So once I hit done, give that a second to sort of recompute. And now my reflected sky is shown here in the bottom, but it looks terrible. So this is where you go into a blend mode. And effectively, you just come through here, and my preference is overlay. So there we go. Overlay, I think, looks pretty good. Except, hey, Jim, it's in color. It is. So this is where I go. Remember, I'm on this layer, which is my new sky layer, the inverted sky. And in fact, you can just rename that layer. I'm going to do that. I'm going to call this inverted sky. And by the way, if you missed it, I did a layers video, which you can catch right there. But that'll keep it clean for me. So that's my inverted sky layer. And now I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go to black and white. I already had that open. I'm going to say convert to black and white. And boom, there you go. I just converted that sky to black and white. So I now have a mirrored sky reflected and converted to black and white. The only thing I might do is go back to layers and take down the opacity a little bit. The reflections might be a little bit crisp. And you know, you can see the water's not perfectly smooth. I don't know how crisp this would be. And in fact, this is all made up, to be honest, right? Because I'm just having fun creating something that I want to create. I don't know if in reality you can actually get that kind of sky in that location. And truthfully, I don't even know if this good of a reflection would show up with a night shot. I don't do a lot of night photography like this. So again, I'm in the fantasy world. I just wanted to clarify. So for those of you that point out the shortcomings in the image, totally fine, and I'm not going to dispute it. I'm just having fun creating something that I consider art. Okay, so here we are. I think so far we've got that image. We started there, and we've got that. Now I want to go do some touch-up and some customization to finalize the image. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to add another another layer. So I'm going to say plus. Remember, I'm on the layers panel, which is these little stacked sheets over here. I'm going to say add adjustment layer. And I'm going to go to the primary filter. I'm going to go to AI enhance, and I'm going to pull up AI accent at like about 40, 48 or something. I'm creating a little bit brighter image, basically. Again, have no idea how real this is. This is Jim having fun and just exploring some creative outlet here. So here we go. That's looking a little bit better. If you turn that off, I felt like the photo was a little bit too dark, which is probably a bit more real, but I wanted to brighten a little bit and have fun. So that's what I did. AI Enhanced does a great job of that. And then my final bit of touch-up is over here on the Pro filter, and I don't need advanced contrast again. I'm going to get into split toning. Now, split toning allows you to separate the highlights from the shadows and pick a color for each separately and an intensity or saturation level. So that's what we're going to do now. And that's basically going to allow me to convert the colors in this image, or the tones a little bit, or the temperature actually is probably a better word for it. I'm going to convert the temperature in the image because even though I like it as a black and white, I want it to be a little bit more of a silvery kind of blue, and that's where split toning comes in. So the first thing is I'm going to go over here to the highlights. I'm going to go to, I think I was about 238, 239, let's say something like that. And my saturation level is like a 53. So I'm just going to pull over here. And to be clear, this was not something, this is not science. This is Jim just screwing around until I got something that I liked. So even though I'm talking about numbers here, every image is different. So, if you take notes in these videos, you don't need to write down, unless you just like the color scheme that I end up coming up with. But just wanted to be clear about that. I'm getting into the blues because I like that silvery kind of look. It's kind of what I call a moonlit or moonlight kind of look. And I think thematically that applies very well to this photo because it's a night image. And then I'm just going to go do the same thing to the shadows, slightly different numbers. And again, this is just what I settled on. I think I was on about 216 here. And then the saturation, something like 39 or something. Yeah, so there we go. So that's basically my final image, and that's how I got there. So base layer with a new sky with a few adjustments like contrast, both smart contrast and advanced contrast. A new image layer, which allowed me to grab that same sky, use the transform tool to flip it, use the blend mode to blend it in. That way you get some of the reflection in the water, but you don't eat up or cover up, I should say, the reflection of this chateau. And then this final adjustment layer, which was basically AI Enhance and split toning to get the light levels a little bit more balanced, which was AI Enhance, and then split toning to give me this color look, which I consider kind of the moonlight look. So that's my before photo. And of course I cropped it at the beginning, and that's my after. And again, probably not totally real. I don't care. I'm just having fun. And I just noticed something. I didn't line that up perfectly. I got a little bit of the image underneath coming through. So just be careful when you're lining up that flipped image that you get it perfectly aligned. I didn't here. I just noticed that, but that's okay. It's easy to fix. I can just go back and do that. But that's how it works, my friends. Hope you had fun with this. I was just out here having fun, making magic, and just doing dramatic, monochrome, artistic, fine art fun. Call it what you will. I just hope that it's inspirational to you, educational perhaps. Maybe it gives you some ideas to do with your own images. But more than anything, I hope you're having fun with Luminar 4, and I do appreciate you watching. Feel free to leave me any feedback, comments, like, share, subscribe, things like that down below. And I'll see you real soon, my friends. I've got a lot more Luminar 4 videos planned, including some deep dives into some specific tools and filters coming soon. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Take care, and adios.